Oh yeah, how are you doing? Yeah, so you see this picture? Sasa inafanya nini? What is it doing? What is it doing? What is it doing? There you go. Where? Can you stay there? That. You see that? Good. What does it look like to you? Because, well, it's basically, I think, a sculpture made out of coconut shell or whatever it's called. And yeah, there's a story to that in Juba. So, question. Have you ever been bewitched? Ushawairogo? Like, has someone ever told you they bewitched you and something actually happened? Well, I wasn't told it happened, but something happened to me in the humanitarian field, and then later I was told apparently, yeah, I was bewitched and poisoned. I was poisoned. So, people usually ask me, so what are the funny things that happen in the humanitarian field, or what are the weird things that happen in the humanitarian field? And yeah, one of them is witchcraft. So this thing I showed you, this one, this. I found this one time after about 7 months. Oh, come on, not my hand. That thing there. It's even refused to show. That one. Good. This thing. Look at it very closely. So I found this thing one time in Juba, South Sudan, after about 7 months or so. 7 months of working there, and it was strange. I found it in the drawer where I've actually seen it. I didn't know what it was. I had no clue. I was cleaning the room and then suddenly popped up. And I said, okay, let me take it to. I was staying in a particular church. Don't try guessing. You might guess if you know which churches I've been in the past. But anyway, so I went to church with it and I showed it to the pastor and to the deacons, and they're like, yo, bro, Buddha, chief, hey, Oga, na witchcraft, oh, this one na witchcraft. I beg. Anyway, so it's a Nigerian church, so that's why I'm speaking in pidgin. Yeah. So they actually insisted it was a witchcraft, and they took it and they told me they'd do something with it, and they were to do, I don't know, whatever, prayers and anointing and burn it, or whatever it was. So it was taken by the church elders and then the senior pastor. I have no clue what they did with it. It looks like a decoration, but maybe they either use it for decoration or they destroyed it. I have no idea. I didn't want to know then. So that takes me back to 2012, I think. 2000 and, no, sorry, not 2012, 2015, 16, 2016 or 17. I was in Sierra Leone on humanitarian mission. It was just around the time that the Ebola scourge was going away, and we were closing up projects, winding up activities in Sierra Leone with the organization I was in as a medical coordinator and a field manager. So this one time, I was in this church. I've talked about this in a few interviews, but not very much. And yeah, there's a place where you can actually find the full story, almost a full story about it. So I was in this church, and I mentioned in the book, and I've also told this story before. When I joined that church, I was an ordained pastor then. I'm no longer an ordained pastor. I resigned from that. I was an ordained pastor. So when I walked in, I showed my credentials, my certificate to the senior pastor of the church, and he was like, yeah, bro, it's very clear in the constitution of the church, of that church, that if there is an ordained pastor, then he takes precedence over the unordained ministers. So that church had only one ordained pastor, the senior pastor then, and everybody else, the deacons, the assistant pastor, the elders, were not ordained yet. So I think the process was ongoing, but it was taking a bit long. So they were not ordained, but they were given the positions because the pastor couldn't just walk alone. And so he says, the constitution is very clear. If there's an ordained pastor who's coming, then he takes precedence. And because he did not have an assistant pastor, then he said automatically I became the assistant pastor of the church. So assistant stroke admin pastor, basically taking care of all the administrative issues in the church. Then he continues now with the full leadership of the church and the spiritual part and stuff like that. So I became. What I did not know was that I had stepped on very many toes, and I had stepped on them hard. So this, I think, was on a Thursday or a Friday when I met them. And when I went to this church, I met him. And then, so of course, Sunday comes and he puts me to sit next to him at the front of the church, which means somebody must have been bumped to the second row behind the pastor. I did not know who it was, but for some reason that particular Sunday there was this guy who was sitting right opposite, across from where we were, where the pastors were. And he was just staring at me the whole service, and it was a crazy stare, like anger and I don't know whether I would say evil, but he looked really pissed off at me. He stared at me the whole service. We would stand to pray, stand to sing, stand to do whatever, go back and sit, and he was just staring at me. But in my mind, as I said earlier, and I've said also in the book, which I mentioned briefly before we close this, I had this notion that anybody who was in charge, especially those who were in the leadership positions, were good people. I grew up believing that anybody in charge should be good. So there's no reason for anybody to want to do anything to me. So I just thought, maybe he just had his mood swings or whatever it was. Little did I know that I had actually rubbed him the wrong way. He never said anything to me. He never behaved in any particular way that was untoward, apart from this stare, this particular Sunday, the whole service from start to end. And I brushed it off. 6 months later, guess what happened? I was at work, walked in that day. I had missed breakfast because I think I overslept or something. But I went into work a bit early. I can't remember what had happened. So I was a bit hungry by 10 a.m. and I was like, I need to go out and look for a snack or something like that to take with my tea or my coffee. And this guy who was sitting with, Rogers, if you're watching this, Rogers, it was you who did this to me. So this guy was sitting within the office. We were sharing an office with him in the same NGO. He also happened to be an elder in the church, an elder, deacon, something, whatever, in the leadership in the church. And he was like, hey, why don't I give you, I have 2 sandwiches. I bought 2 sandwiches and I would eat both of them. So let me give you this one, let's share. So I'm like, cool, sharing is caring. He's an elder in the church, a leader in the church. I'm a pastor in the church, an assistant pastor, admin pastor. So it's cool. I didn't see anything out of place. Ate this. Remember, it was an egg sandwich with egg sandwich with, I don't know what it was, some of the local stuffing that was in it, and ate it. And 30 minutes later, things just went haywire. I started feeling awful. I was running a fever. I felt like I was boiling, like I was being boiled, I was being burnt, like I was going into fire. Within like 35 minutes, 45 minutes of having eaten that sandwich, my skin was transforming. You could actually see my skin turning black. So I was feeling hot on my body. I would feel hot on my arms. Then I realized, wait, my skin was actually transforming. My arms, the skin on my arm was transforming. And then check the other arm, the same thing was happening. Then I would feel something rising along my neck, like heat along my neck. Apparently, it was whatever was happening to my skin was happening to my skin, and it was making my skin transform. So I remember going to my boss. And telling her, I'm not feeling so well. Could I go to the room and rest, to our guest house? And she was like, David, what's happening to you? What's going on? I'm like, what's happening? I hadn't seen my face, so I was feeling like my face was getting hotter and it was rising. I could feel the heat rising up my face, and she was telling me, your skin is transforming. What's going on? So when I looked on my phone, I just took my camera, looked on the phone, and actually saw my skin was turning much, much darker. And it looked like it was scaly or something like that. It was really weird, really ugly, really, really ugly. And I was in pain and I was uncomfortable. My joints were aching. I went home. For some reason, I never went to hospital. I have no idea why. I can't explain to you today. It was stupid and idiotic. But trust me, the next 4 days were bad. I tried going to church that day. I was supposed to preach in the evening. I could not. I looked like I was basically about to collapse and just switch off completely. I went back home. 4 days, I was sick. I could barely move. By the 4th day, when I got up, I looked like I had been sick for years with some kind of terminal disease. When I went back to church that Sunday, everybody was shocked. But there were these 2 particular people who were so shocked. And they were like, oh, Dr. David, you're back. You're back. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. So welcome, sir. It was Pastor David. So Pastor David, you're back. Welcome, sir. Well done. And I had no idea why they were so shocked, but I knew I had suffered through something that I couldn't explain, and it was horrible. My 10 minutes up. Watch out for part 2. I'll tell you exactly what happened and what was revealed later after this incident happened. This was 6 months into my being in Sierra Leone, and it was crazy. Dr. David Osambla, the author of Broken Souls, Chronicles of a Humanitarian Health Worker. I'm a medical doctor, humanitarian, and also an entertainer. And of course, a published author. This is my 2nd book, and we'll have more in the book. And watch out for part 2 of this. Bye-bye. See you soon.